All right, what's up, guys? Sports up.
Right? It's Wednesday.
It's Wednesday. It's hump day. I'm excited. And I'm also really excited because, Kate, what started last night?
The World Series.
The World Series started last night. Okay, I'm really excited because this is basically the first World Series that I've watched that I have been a fan of both teams and don't care who wins.
Right?
I really don't care who wins. I mean, I would love the Cubs to win.
Same here. But
I really don't care who wins because at the end of the day, both teams, I think, really deserve it.
Exactly. I feel like that's how most people in America feel. I mean, to be quite honest, being from this area, like, I don't care who wins because both teams really deserve it. And I think that's something that we haven't seen in a long time.
Right. And I mean, a part of me wants Cleveland. Like, okay, so I'm going to go over the parts that want Cleveland to win and the parts that want the Cubs to win.
Right.
I'm going to start with Cleveland.
Okay.
I want Cleveland to win because if they win, they take all of that attention away from LeBron James.
Thank you.
Winning and being the savior of
Cleveland.
And I mean, like, I don't like LeBron James, so if anybody's going to take his thunder away, let's go.
Exactly.
Like, Indians, let's do it because, honestly, you all could be the kings of Cleveland now instead of him.
Mm-hmm.
And
because their season started last night.
Exactly, yeah, and they beat the Knicks, which, like, I wasn't happy about because I'm a Knicks fan, too. But, like, that's totally okay. We're not even on NBA. We're talking about baseball.
Exactly.
I'll talk about baseball until my face is blue. But that's one reason I want the Indians to win, and I want the Cubs to win because Anthony Rizzo and Chris Bryant. Those are my two reasons, and David Ross, too, and Joe Madden as well. That's the reasons why I want them to win. I think Rizzo is such a versatile player and an amazing player and has gone through a lot. And I think, he started out, which is funny because the Indians coach now is Tony. I
know who you're talking about. Yeah, Francona.
Yeah, he obviously everybody knows was the Boston Red Sox manager for years, and he's actually currently 9-0 in World Series.
I was gonna just say that. I was like, in World Series games, he's 9-0.
9-0 in World Series, which is a little upsetting because Joe Madden is the manager for the Cubs, and Joe Madden has been there and hasn't been able to do it. So
exactly, but I feel like it would be a good thing for the city of Chicago, just because a lot of those people.
100%.
It's a mixture because you do have two baseball teams. It is like New York, where you're either a White Sox fan or you're a Cubs fan.
A Cubs fan, yeah. You're either a Mets fan or a Yankees fan.
Or sometimes, like, if you're in Connecticut, you could be a Boston fan.
Or you're a Dodgers fan because you're an old-time Brooklyn Dodgers fan, and you got that passed on to you.
That could be, too.
But yeah, that could be a thing.
With the Cubs, I would love to see them win just because I've been to Wrigley Field, and, like, we have family friends that are from there.
Right.
But it was interesting because Mrs. Piper, who we're family friends with, she's originally from Cleveland but lives outside of Chicago now. So she's like, she'll be happy with whoever wins. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's just most people. Like, I would love to see the Cleveland Indians win just because we were talking about LeBron James.
Aren't the stadiums like 4 hours away from each other, too?
I think so. I think they're only like 4 hours, which isn't that.
That's crazy. Because usually it's like, I mean, from the American and National Leagues, usually it's, it's playing from different or from cross country, you know what I mean? Like, you could be could be
so they play at Progressive Field. I'll pull up see how long it takes to get Progressive Field. Let's see, we probably want, let's see maps where it is, and then I'll Google map it to Wrigley Field.
Yeah, because I remember somebody saying it to me. It's like 4 hours apart, but like that's just the cool thing is that like the fan bases are so close to each other. Do you know what I mean? So that makes it interesting. But I also heard last night it was like $900 just to get a ticket to get into the stadium.
Which is ridiculous.
Not even for a ticket to sit down, like just a ticket to get into the stadium.
$900. So with tolls, it's about 5 hours and 5 hours and 30 minutes total from Progressive Field to Wrigley Field.
5.5 hours.
That's not bad.
That's not bad at all.
To drive.
But that's what I'm talking about is that they're so close.
It's an hour
They're
and
so close.
It's an hour and 5 minutes to fly, and currently airline prices is $217 with Delta or American or United. Round trip.
That's insane.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
There are tolls on the route that they do want you to take, but it doesn't look too bad.
Still 5.5 hours. Oh, it's pretty close.
That's
But I
not
mean,
bad.
but I was also looking through. So, all right. So the Indians won last night, which is big. But they're saying also that their second win is quite possibly the biggest win that they have. So, well, not that they have, but like that they need.
Because if they win tonight,
it's five reasons why Game 2 is bigger than Game 1.
Mm-hmm.
Reason number 1: the Indians' rotation is entering murky territory. I got this off Fox Sports, by the way. So Corey Kluber pitched last night. He's one of the most dominant pitchers the Indians have.
Right.
But after that, they're going to Trevor Bauer, who I don't know if you remember, but Trevor Bauer is the one who had the stitches on his finger.
Yeah. So
and
he's pitching
he only
tonight.
pitched like 8 pitches.
Yeah.
He's pitching tonight. So that's why they're saying that Game 2 is really, really important. So he's coming into Game 2, and it's just that's one thing that they're a little murky about because his last outing, obviously he only pitched, he didn't even get to double digits and he had to exit the game.
Right.
But
And Jake Arrieta today is pitching for Chicago.
yeah, Jake Arrieta is pitching today for Chicago, which Jake Arrieta is a savage on the mound. But reason number 2 is Cleveland can't afford to lose home field advantage. So the Indians had the MLB's second best home winning percentage during the regular season, and they're unbeaten at Progressive Field in the playoffs. So that's a huge advantage too. Not even losing a game.
I think their fan base too. Their fan base is huge.
Not even losing a game. But if the team with the best home winning percentage this season is sitting in the opposite dugout, which is the Cubs were 57-24 at Wrigley Field in the regular season, and only in the postseason lost at home because of Clayton Kershaw. So that's a big one too, is that they can't lose at home field advantage. They can't do that.
Right.
Third is Kyle Hendricks lurking in Game 3, so the Cubs pushed back the majors' ERA leader to Game 3 so he could start at Wrigley, because Kyle Hendricks is really, you want your pitcher who's got the lowest ERA going into that game because it's home field advantage.
It's home field advantage. And
exactly.
You're going to get the crowd
Exactly. And also, reason number 4 is Andrew Miller and company. So Andrew Miller and his relieving company, they're not elastic. So there's a rain out, 2 short series. The Indians swept the ALDS and ended the ALCS in 5 games. Terry Francona extended his relievers without completely taxing them, but Andrew Miller showed signs of fatigue in Game 1. So that's big.
That's a problem.
If you have a big closer like that, Andrew Miller, and they got him from the Yankees, you're welcome, and so did the Cubs got Chapman, you're welcome.
Exactly.
And which is weird if you think about it now. Both teams both acquired their relievers from the Yankees, and they're both in the World Series.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a little annoying.
Because didn't Andrew Miller last night pitch way more than he was actually supposed to yesterday?
Yeah.
He pitched
he should, in Game 1 before escape. He escaped bases loaded, no out jam in the 7th and 2-on, 2-out situation.
Why did they put him in the 7th? Is my question.
Here's what I mean. I don't understand when people start bringing in their relievers that early.
Well, and he pitched 2 full
depending on who your
innings
reliever
yesterday.
is too. I mean, you're not putting Chapman out there in the 7th, that's for sure. You're keeping Chapman till you got 2 outs in the 8th, or you're going into the 9th. You know
exactly.
what I mean?
That's the smarter
That's when
thing.
you bring in Chapman. But Miller can do that though, because Miller did it for the Yankees too, and he was pretty successful in it too, I think. But you can't put someone like that, especially when it's the World Series. You don't want to use your reliever like that in such an early situation. Let your guy pitch it out, see where you're gonna go, and then go from there. But I think if you're putting in Miller in that such an early position, he's not going to be able to withstand that, and then the next day you're going to go to look for him, and he's not going to have what
he's not going to have what he
he could have had. If you would have saved him another inning or two, he might have that inning or two to go the next day and the next day.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Which is going to be an interesting one because he pitched 2 innings last night. He had 2 hits, 0 runs, 2 walks, and 3 strikeouts.
Mm-hmm.
Which is fine, but you can't have him pitch that long and then expect him to be ready to go for Game 2 tonight at 7:00.
Exactly. And also, I think here's the one thing is that so they had John Lester, who is funny because John Lester was originally on the Red Sox. He had cancer with the Red Sox. He went through that whole organization. Anthony Rizzo, when he was 18 years old, was in the Red Sox organization on their minor league team. He ended up having cancer too. And so he met with John Lester, and he was just talking to him about, like, you're going to make it through this, all that stuff. And it's weird that the both of them now have ended up on the Cubs together, and they have this career together, and they're going to the World Series. That was a side note. I just want to talk about that because that's really cool.
I think that's so cool that they have that. I mean,
yeah, they had that kind of like bond before they even got on the Cubs. You know what I mean?
Which is exciting.
Exactly. But here's one thing that John Lester was not himself last night, and I think that's one reason why the Indians got so lucky. Mm-hmm. John Lester was not himself at all. But he's not going to do that again. No. So if they're looking for John Lester in 5, 6, 7 games, 5 games, 6 games, 7. He's not going to be like that again. You cannot guarantee that. He's not. You cannot.
He normally has
Cleveland cannot bank on him having another inning like he had, featuring 2 walks, 2 hits, and a hit batter. And he's allowed 2 earned. And he's only okay. Here's one thing. In fact, Lester had allowed 2 earned in 21 innings this entire postseason prior to Tuesday night. Mm-hmm. And then they go on to say that the Indians solved him once, but they cannot expect that to be the case when they face him again in Game 5. Lester has just become too strong of a big game pitcher, and he has. This is very, very true. You cannot bank on a pitcher, throwing a game like that, an uncharacteristic game like he did. He's going to come back in Game 5, and he is going to make you wish you were not at the plate right then and there.
And he had done that before with Boston.
Oh, yeah.
Completely had done that before.
Oh, yeah.
Where he had one bad outing, and then all of a sudden something switched, and he was lights out.
Exactly.
Which I can't wait to see.
But I think every pitcher has had that. Even Clayton Kershaw's had that. Those games where they're like, this is not Clayton Kershaw. You know what I mean? Even closers have that too. Like Chapman, there's been some games where he's just been like, what's going on? Like, why is he pitching like this? I mean, and then you look at it and it's those games where he came in the 7th, in an early 7th game, or in an early 8th, bottom of the 8th. You know what I mean? So or top of the 8th, sorry.
That's okay.
No, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. Top of the 8th, bottom of the 8th, it doesn't matter because it wouldn't matter. But anyway, that's besides the point. But that's just one thing that you got to look at, is that he's not going to do that again, because he's not the type of pitcher, nor is he the type of person, I think, as a person too. Because I've been following John Lester even when he was on the Red Sox, when I hated him. I hated his guts.
Same here. I hated his guts when he was on the Red Sox.
He's not a pitcher that's going to have a game like that and come back and do it again. No.
Right. No,
he's going to come back and be like, I'm fixing everything I did wrong that game, and I'm coming back ready to go and ready to win my team a championship.
I think both teams are very stacked, and pitchers, relievers, and in their overall lineup. So I think it's going to be an interesting game tonight when you've got Bauer pitching tonight. I think it's going to be very interesting.
Bauer Arrieta too. That's big.
It's going to be a big game tonight. So that's going to be on Fox at 7 p.m.
Mm-hmm. They changed the time too. Actually, they moved the time up to 7. It wasn't originally 7.
It was like 8:08, right?
Yeah, it was something like that.
Last night was 8:08.
Yeah, they moved it up because I got the notification on my app. It was like, it was just.
I got something this morning about it. Yeah. I forget what time it was. But
here's another thing now. Okay, we need to talk about one thing real quick. Is that who did, I believe it's, hold on a second, because I'm almost positive now, I think it's the Indians that brought up a player from, Kyle Schwarber.
They brought him up for the World Series?
He's DHing. He DH'd last night, didn't he?
Here, I have the box score.
Yeah, I'm almost positive. Or he's DHing tonight because he was supposed to come up. Which, after missing almost the entire season, Kyle Schwarber made an incredible return in World Series Game 1, impressing both sides.
Yeah.
Yeah, he came back last night. I forgot about that. Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's last big. Night for the Cubs.
Yeah, for the Cubs. He DH'd last night, didn't he?
Yeah, DH'd. He had 3 at-bats, 1 hit, 1 walk, 2...
Wow, he went 1 for 3 with a hit and a walk.
Yeah. And then had 2 strikeouts, so.
That's insane, really.
I mean, to come back, a first game back. And
first game back is Game 1 of the World Series, and you're DHing.
That's crazy.
First game back, and you get a hit and walked, and you went 1 for 3?
That's fine by me.
What was your rehab like, and what were you doing?
Exactly.
Well, what'd you have for breakfast that day? I want to know.
Right? Because that's something that you don't normally see, or it's really unheard of.
He's ready to go though. But I think this series is going to be one. I think this is going to go all the way to Game 7.
I really do. I think it's going to be a neck and neck battle. I feel like it's going to be one over
exactly.
one. I feel like something might change tonight where if the Cubs win, it's going to be back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
No, I think so too. But when you have two teams like this, with two cities like this, with, you know, both franchises have such a big history of not winning and, you know, getting there and being kicked out. And, you know, like in 97 when the Indians got kicked out by the Yankees, like, you know what I mean? They have this history of getting there and they're just right there and they just can't make it. And this is the year when both teams who have been right there haven't made it, have made it. And now it's just, you know, who is the team that deserves it the most? I think the Cubs deserve it the most.
I really do.
I
really think that as well.
Fan base wise, they have gone through so much. I think player wise, they have gone through a lot, going through different managers, feeling things out.
They've changed.
This is the year that the chemistry of the team is right. Joe Madden is right for the Cubs. He's right.
And he has a right team for this, too.
Exactly.
He has the right set of players.
This is the team that is right for Chicago. This is the team. They got Rizzo. They got Bryant. They got Arrieta. They got Joe Madden. They are set. They can do this.
They can do it if they just believe.
All they got to do is just keep those bats alive, have their pitchers throwing the way they know how to throw, the way they can throw. Arrieta, if Arrieta doesn't throw a gem tonight,
it's going to be interesting.
Yeah. If the Indians win tonight,
I don't know.
It's going to be a tough series for the Cubs.
It really is. It will be a tough series for them to come back.
It really is, because it's like you can't get that far for Chicago. I mean, and for Cleveland too, but especially for Chicago. Like if you think, okay, the last time Chicago won the World Series, right, was 1907?
Yep.
Right?
I'm pretty sure it was 1907.
Right? The last time they won a pennant was 1945. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So, 1908. Championships is 1908. They've not appeared in a fall classic since 1945. The last time...
Oh, here, they had World Series champions 1907 and 1908. That's it. That's all they got.
Let's just go back real quick, okay? The last time the Cubs won a pennant. I'm going to go won a pennant because 1907 is way, way too far back. Okay? Mm-hmm. Let's go to 1945.
Because that's...
1945, okay? World War II.
Because it's a long time ago.
World War II was a thing. Last time the Cubs won a pennant.
That's amazing.
That was a thing. Well, I mean, it was a thing, but like it was happening. Like everything had just happened. Like Adolf Hitler was a name that was like not welcomed in anybody's home at all.
I think it's going to be interesting.
Welcomed now, but still. I want to look up things 1945. Things that were not a thing in 1945.
That like we don't have today. You know, that would be interesting. We could definitely compare that in the next segment too.
Oh yeah, 100%. Because I definitely can think off the top of my head like color TV wasn't a thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Color TV was not a thing.
They had day games.
Even like home like people didn't even have televisions in their homes.
Exactly. So they would have to go to the ballpark or listen to it on the radio. So it's a very, very different.
Yeah.
It's going to be different. I'm excited to see that.
Oh, I'm really excited to see this because it's just like, hold on, wait. Yeah, Roosevelt was president, right? 1945. Or, yeah. No.
Was it Truman?
I think it was Truman. Right?
Do you see how much history you and I know?
Everybody people who know me will know I'm not the brightest when it comes to history.
1945.
1945 was, I think it was Truman. Or the end of Roosevelt.
It was the end of Roosevelt, beginning of Truman.
Right?
Yeah. There we go.
Oh my God.
Or the other way around. It was one of the two.
Oh my God.
Oh, he died. So Roosevelt died on April 12th of 1945.
That's why. Yeah, there it is. April 12th, 1945. Yeah. You're right. Frankie D. But yeah, but that just goes to show you, like, how far, how much the Cubs have gone through
Right.
since 1945, and how much stuff has changed since the last time they won a pennant.
Exactly.
Not even a World Series, a pennant. We're going World Series. We got to go back to 1908.
Which, you know, they didn't have a lot of that stuff back then.
We know they didn't even have McDonald's back then.
They probably, I don't think they had
Wait,
radio.
when was McDonald's even a thing?
I have no idea, but we can look that up during break.
I think yeah, we can look that up during break. Speaking of break, we got to take a break. But we'll be back. We're going to talk a little bit maybe more about some baseball end of it, and let's probably go into the gridiron too.
Exactly.
We'll be back, guys.